What is up, guys? It's Julian. I'm back with episode 2 of the Sharks in the Water podcast. We are the Shanghai Sharks, or at least some of the members. We got a whole new cast of characters here with us this week. Leo, say what's up.
What's up, guys? I'm Leo. Happy to be here.
Corey, say what's good to the people.
Everybody, people might know me from my tear with Ritual Beast like a year or so ago. Hello again.
Yes. And Blake, what's good?
Hi, everybody. My name is Blake, and I'm addicted to neptabihhhhh.
You can't put down the cup.
I can't do it.
Okay, so me and Blake, two mermaid-pilled hobosexuals, two water boys. We're here to not talk about water much today, but had to put that together. And then the fifth member of the pod, secret member, is producer Cody, who will be back for future episodes, but today he's running the show behind the scenes. We got some special guests. So, let's just hop right into it. One of the reasons why we had to have Leo and Corey on the show is in addition to the great Darian Hahn, who is not on here for some reason. They topped the Rosemont Regional this weekend. Congrats, boys.
Yeah.
Before we check out the lists, what do you guys, you pick who goes first, but let's break it down. Talk about your regional experience.
Corey, you want to go?
I was gonna say you can go first.
Nah, I insist.
All right, cool. Yeah. So what was that? Okay. So the weekend went pretty well for me. I played Magistus Branded Dracotail. It's the deck I've been playing since the cards came out in Burst Protocol. I was buying them all sneak peek weekend. I didn't really care if I was overpaying on cards or anything like that. I just wanted to get the stuff
because you knew the best deck.
Even though I wasn't going to the 300th YCS. I really like the Magistus cards. I like what they add to the deck. A lot of times, or what I've heard very commonly amongst Dracotail players, is them complaining about only opening Albaz cards, or not being able to bridge. And by playing Magistus cards, you make everything bridge to everything.
Yeah.
And there's also weird applications that Spenta has when it goes second that I'll talk about. But yeah, so for the non-engine choices, I guess. Let me click over to my deck list here so I can remember it. Yeah, so for non-engine choices, I felt like the low impact hand traps weren't really doing much. Ash Blossom and Fool Loss were the only ones I truly wanted to see in my hand.
Yeah.
And then Droplet, Fallen and Virtuous are both really strong breakers at the moment. And I only really felt the need to play 12 because the engine of the deck is so strong.
Yeah.
You just generate too many pushes for your opponent to really deal with.
Yeah, it's been said before, but Rahu and Ketu also count as breakers. And so
Rahu and Ketu also count as breakers, as well as Branded Fusion. And then also 5 mana counts as a hand trap. So even though it looks like 12 non-engine, it's truly probably 18 to 20.
It's this is a deck that can deal with half boards. And so a card like Fua or a card like Droplet, or even to a lesser extent Fallen the Virtuous, is almost guaranteeing they're ending. They're not ending on a half board, but you're making it a half board in the case of Droplet. So
yeah, you're making it so they don't end on the more problematic parts of their end board, which allows your cards to more efficiently crack through it. And then in the side deck, I played a bunch more hand traps for the matchups where breakers don't necessarily work as well. Decks that have a lot of things going on, I would say, rather than one or two main threats that they invest into. So think Radiant Typhoon, how it has the trap card, but then it has 4 back row. The monsters aren't really doing anything, so I don't really need Droplet to negate the monsters. I more so need hand traps to stop them from drawing a bunch of cards and drawing into their floodgates and stuff like that. And then I liked what Lucas Sacco and Julian Kahn said about Retaliating Sea in the mirror. It's one of the cards that you can draw that actually reduces the board a lot. And that's also why I like playing the Magistus cards, is because before you commit to Rahu, you can almost always put Zeroa on the board. So Retaliating Sea is never an issue for you, or it shouldn't be in your not weak hands, I guess, would be how to explain it. The Magma and Phantasma are definitely coming out. They were fine, but like they didn't impress me.
Yeah.
Card that did impress
It's
me,
because you
though,
didn't have my Euro Magnamut. That shit was loyal.
dude,
Did
I
you think
have my
about that,
own
Corey?
Magnum now. We're good.
Yeah, but mine was loyal.
It was the one event I borrowed his Magnum for. I swear I drew it like at least 70% of the time. It was ridiculous. But the one card that did really impress me, that was my 15th extra card, was Mysterion, the Crown Dragon, the Dragon Crown. That card actually has a bunch of interesting applications into a regional setting because there's so many rogue decks. So decks like Exo Sister, where they have like 2 pushes, and you can just out a bunch of them with 1 card, was really good. I was playing DB earlier today before I went to work. I played against a Lunalight player. He went Silverhound effect. I chained 5 mana for Mysterion. I banished all the Warriors, and they lost the game. And I also did it to a Yummy player. And I banished Cupsyway, Lollipoe, 2 little guys, left him with a Sky Striker token, and he passed.
Well, I have 2 thoughts about this. The first, I'm not counting Chaos Dragon. That card's overly fire in the mirror. Feels necessary. But I do love Mysterion. And you're right. I mean, it's great into Rogue, but it's also, I mean, Yummy's back in a major way. That card puts in work against Yummy. Puts in work against Malice, too, which, especially in our neck of the woods, I mean, when you go to an Illinois Regional, there's just going to be some really strong Malice players there. And I definitely want a way to beat them.
I played against one Malice guy at the regional, and I did Mysterion him in game 1. That otherwise would have been kind of a sketchy situation, because I had already dealt with like 2 pushes. So he had Lingerybo up, and he special summoned backup from hand using its effect. I banished the backup, banished the Lingerybo. His last play was like Abystial, banishing a name, and 2 bodies doesn't get them anything anymore.
Nice.
So you mentioned Chaos. I tested it. I never ended up making it. Like, it was a card that didn't end up getting summoned a lot, and when it did, I usually had a different line to take. I wouldn't say the card is necessarily bad. It's just I either was using it incorrectly or it wasn't getting summoned. So I swapped it for a card that was a little bit easier to make, because the deck doesn't necessarily have that many dragons. It has like 1 Malulu, 1 Urgalo, 1 Pan, and the 3 Fallens, if you don't count Arthalion. So like that's only 6 dragons to make it with. Meanwhile, you can bridge into the Mysterion a lot easier.
I mean, obviously, when you get to Dragon Rider or Ecclesia the Black Dragon, that's always going to represent, or assuming all that stuff resolves, that's going to represent Chaos, because it's Ecclesia for Cartesia on their turn, Ecclesia for Fallen, for Ecclesia for Fallen, and then the Cartesia makes the Chaos Dragon. But that's like the only time, and it's really only in the mirror where it's super, super relevant. So I totally can see why Mysterion was clutch for you there.
See, I got personal beef with Chaos because good friend, a fellow Shanghai Shark, Sam Zhang, decided to hit me with the Chaos maneuver, and the 2 cards I had on the board were the first Penguin and the neptabihhhhh card. And if you don't know anything about those cards, they have ignition effects. So he said, "Hey, man." You don't get to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And I said, my fault.
Kicked him straight off the board.
He said, get out of here. I looked at my head of 3 Perulias. I said, all right, cool.
I guess the last thing I have to say, because I kind of alluded to it, and I would feel bad if I didn't follow up on it, is the like secret application of Spenta. So I missed this interaction in the moment, but it would have won me the game on the spot. It caused me to go to a game 3, round 9 against Anacraft. Game 2. Game 2.
Was it Peeps Yugioh?
Game 2, he has just like 2 set dudes. And if you know anything about Anacraft, they have an Omni on their turn, not yours. And they have things that flip when you respond to them, and flip when you target them, or flip when you would destroy something. So he had like 2 set monsters and a normal summon Vanity Fiend. Now, Vanity Fiend is quite tough to beat if you don't have a card like Imperm or Droplet, but Imperm targets. They have cards that can negate that. Droplet's really your only out. However, Spenta has a second effect where you can discard him to have the attack of one face-up monster your opponent controls, non-targeting.
Ooh.
And not only does this come up in this situation, but in the event that you're playing against a Fiendsmith deck and they end on like Wave King, you can go discard Spenta, have it, make it 14, normal Lucius, add a starter, battle phase, swing over.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Wow, that's actually gas. I was certain the story was going to be like, I quit my IWAS and attacked over. I made my Nina Ruru and I could attack twice. But no, that's fire. Yeah.
How many times did you do that, Corey? Like, how many times did that actually come up? Was it just
I was like, the answer was 0.
It would have only come up the one time. I missed it in the moment, but then like retroactively thinking about it, it actually answers a lot of problems that the normal branded Draco Tail deck can't necessarily answer when they're staring at like a more, because they play more Pans, they play more Urgulas, so they don't have that many actual like cards that do anything alone. But meanwhile, like Spenta, you can have it, and then just like most stuff in your deck will get over it. Even Ecclesia is 1500, so she swings over Caesar no problem once it goes to 14. But yeah, and then you mentioned Inaru. That card is I want to say it's fake, but it's not. I did equip it to a Lucius and swung into 2 monsters. That was fun. I also overlaid for it once.
Yeah, you swear that comes up all the time.
Dude, I overlaid for it. I added back Crowley in order to make the Zeroa fusion.
Yeah.
And then I activated Rahu because the Crowley was already in the graveyard from turn 1.
Yeah. Great. Okay, well, just for the sake of moving on, because I can honestly talk about this deck all day with you. And, it's something we covered a ton in the first episode. We're not going to bore the people with it. But, once again, congrats, Corey. Great job. Obviously, more to come with this deck. But, Leo, let's check out your list. And we can look at it after. But I want to hear your thoughts about your regional. Take a look at your list here. And then we can do some investigating the YCS Sydney decks, because that was also this weekend. And in fact, the deck that won was the same deck you took to top 8 at this regional. So let's pull this one up. Sweet. Cool. All right, Leo, break it down.
All right, so this weekend was very difficult for me, to say the very least. Every match that I played was super hard for
you're playing the hard mode deck.
No
this is
reason.
What I'm talking about.
Yeah, this is by far the hardest I've had to work for a regional, and yeah, I mean, I guess I got there in the end, but
extremely shiced.
Yeah, taking a look at it, like you'll probably see some very interesting, ratios. Like for example, the 2 Extrav. I'm not gonna lie, those cards before were Shield Bearer and a Called by the Grave. But I realized that Called by the Grave didn't put in as much work as it needed to. Like people main deck Fua, and it's not like I'm called buying the Fua. I'm not gonna call by the Ash because I'd rather save it for their turn. And it's like it just going second is really terrible. And this deck is a deck that needs 5 or 6 individual cards. Like they need to be unique pieces in order to effectively push into a board. So I couldn't afford any dead cards going second into any kind of deck. Yeah, and the Extrav came up a lot for me actually. There was a time where I resolved it twice where I was on top deck. I got on top deck with a lot of people simply because this deck's board is so easily broken.
Yeah.
It's all about surviving and playing the next turn. But yeah, the only 2 losses that I had were Darian playing his Radiant Typhoon Tri-Brigade strategy, and the Enneacraft player that Corey beat. God, yes, got me back.
The get back is crazy.
Yeah.
Wait, Leo. Wait, can we back up for a second? Why did you pick this deck?
Okay, so pretty
Yeah,
much.
we've actually been talking so much shit about this deck.
And yet he played it. Like,
Yeah. And it won the YCS.
and yeah,
The only exclusive reason I played this deck is because it was the deck that I had the longest testing for on ladder. As you guys know, or maybe people that play DV ladder have seen me before. I'm on there permanently, so like
Yeah.
you know, I tried the yummy Tri Brigade variant. I didn't get. If I was able to get as close to Darian's list as he did and talk with him a bit more, I probably would have taken it. But I was too focused with that deck on making it a Radiant deck with yummy cards than making it like a yummy deck with some Radiant cards in the back, you know? So,
It's just a wise choice, right? Running the deck you're comfortable with.
yeah.
Although clearly, I mean, this deck is showing it's got legs that are not obvious to scrubs like me and Blake, but yeah, I mean, it still seems to have all the problems that you said. The end board is really, I mean, it's just hard to make it something different. And it can have the problem of drawing redundant pieces. Although obviously, you know, the spells all do, you know, can work together
I mean,
to fix that.
the night before, I was stressing out really heavily about the list, and thankfully, Cody and Darian were helping me out, like calm my nerves a little bit. I wasn't initially gonna play Extrav, so I mean, shout out Cody, and I wasn't initially gonna play D-Fissure, because if you guys look at Jib's top 8 list, his most recent Radiant Typhoon list, he didn't play it.
Damn, what the hell?
Yeah, he just didn't play the card, and
No,
like,
I mean, Blake, dude, flipping the double birds because of
I'm
defense.
fucking op, bro. That's my fucking op. You want to talk about? Activate neptabihhhhh. Oh wait, I killed myself. Like,
Yeah, truly.
ban all
Fissure
floodgates
is
unless I'm playing them,
a
man.
lame card.
Ban all floodgates unless they're water monsters, man.
Hey, he's bringing up a great point right now.
oh my goodness. But Jib didn't play those D-Fissure cards, and I think it's mainly because, like I said, this deck is very hard, and this deck needs all of your brain cells to be working at once, and Jib is a little better than me, so maybe he didn't need the crutch card, but, you know, every time I activated that card, I ended up winning that game, so even if it got outed. So
I think I'm not an expert in this deck, but the thing that jumps off the page to me is I'm seeing 0 Sheenas in the mainer side.
yes, that card is so terrible to me.
Yeah.
Because the thing about Sheena is, first of all, it needs to be like you need to go against a kind of somewhat bad player, not bad player, but like a player that's not thinking about it.
It gets worse. It gets worse when they've got it in mind.
Yeah,
Obviously.
when it's in, it's like Nib, right? When it's in their head, it's super easy to play around. This deck has a really hard time killing, like an extremely hard time killing, even into open boards. If you don't manage to summon, you know, your Great Fly, it's like hard to put up damage on the board, like really hard. So having a card in your hand that says bounce everything back to the hand instead of like the deck or like destroy it, like it makes it to where their crackback is so incredibly insane, and your board isn't, you know,
your board's basically never going to be that crazy.
Exactly. It's never going to be that crazy. Like going first, players just have to wait until you summon twice. Like you summon Eldum, you summon Swen, and then now they can interact with you. Like, because there's really nothing in the deck that forces stuff except the Phonics and the Whale. And so and obviously like people aren't going to do anything to those cards until, you know, they need to. So yeah. And I didn't play it going first because I just like Fissure better. If I want to play a going first card, I'd rather play a card that not only helps me, but it screws my opponent. So yeah,
a card that deletes all their stocks. I'm looking. If you producer Cody, if you wouldn't mind pulling up the Radiant Typhoon deck that ended up winning the YCS. This guy main Sheena, so
get 2 of them in there.
Before we get too far into the other Radiant Typhoon list, I do have a question for Leo. You said you played it because it's the deck you have the most testing with on ladder.
Yeah.
I'm curious what like drew you to the deck in the first place.
What drew me to the deck in the first place? So I mean, I kind of wanted to put away Yummy because
Put the cupsy down, bro.
but I can't put the.
Rio's dumbass. He's always like,
can't put
"Oh,
the
it's a
cup
toxic
down.
relationship."
Cupsy the
Toxic
yummy
relationship
way.
between you and what? What you and winning? What you want to talk all those regionals with that shit? Like, come on,
He
bro.
said it was too easy, man.
You
Yeah,
got
you
sarcasm
really-
stuff.
It's
No,
too
it's my
easy.
boys. It's my boys.
Wait, before we talk about this, quick side note. So you guys might have seen on the channel, Leo ended up getting 3rd place at YCS Pittsburgh Giant card. On some calmness.
Yes, sir.
And which one did you win?
I got Radiant Typhoon Swen. He was calling me the whole time.
We're in the car ride on the way home from Pittsburgh. Like, damn, it stinks you got the bad one because 1st and 2nd got like the DDD, like some DDD card.
Some DDD card.
But now he's got the sickest one by like a lot.
I think the reason why I
maybe
topped
Mao's
this
cooler.
event,
Maybe Frixel's cooler. Maybe. I'd rather have Swen.
this
That
event
shit's
because I
fun.
woke up to Swen.
Exactly.
He was in
He
my
sleeps
room.
with it
I
every
looked
night
at him.
like a blanket.
Yeah.
Like, you guys ever seen the meme where it's like Dallas Bailey with the giant card as a blanket? That's Leo every single night with his Swen.
Yep. Kiss Swen
Post it
goodnight.
up.
And, help me out. But the reason why I was attracted to it in the first place is because it has the tools to handle like weird situations. Like, I love MST. MST is awesome.
Yeah.
The MST is so crazy, and you can out backer with it, and force your way into boards. It's also a deck that, for some reason, people just don't understand how to interact with. So it really helped me at the regional. There was a very minuscule amount of people that actually understood what was going on and the game state that they were in.
Oh, no.
Insane.
Are you saying it's a Bum Slayer deck?
It is a Bum Slayer deck.
Loki, we can't even talk. Magistus is also a Bum Slayer deck, too. I'm like, ooh, I combo so much. You probably can't even think. Ooh, I win now. Yeah.
Okay, look. Hey, Loki Netabiz too, but then they normal summon Cupsy. It doesn't matter.
Bro,
Oh,
Neptabihhhhh is a Bum Slayer deck in that it just like wins. Like,
just wins.
It's also a Goat Slayer deck. Like, you just win the game. The opponent doesn't matter.
Hey,
Or you lose.
when we went back to back on Pedro at that fucking Madison Regional.
Pause. First of all, pause. That was funny, but pause.
Yeah.
Those of you guys that don't know, me and Blake played water at a Madison Regional about a year ago. Topped that shit extremely calmly, as did Leo for that matter. But we played against
What happened in the last round?
very unlucky opponent in back-to-back rounds, and I beat him with my water deck. And then the very next round, he just sees Blake normal summon Neptabihhhhh, and he just picks up the cards. Okay, boys. Sorry, let's lock. We probably made Cody switch the freaking thing like 100 times at this point. Let us take a look at this first place deck. Leo, this is what is this gentleman's name? Dominic Italiano. The dope. Can you pull this one up, Leo, and break it down? Some of the differences and some of your thoughts about his choices here.
I won't lie. I don't know where to see it. So
I can link it to you really quickly if you'd like.
yeah, that'd be great.
Well, I got you.
Sorry, boys.
He played 3 copies of an Edison card. That's pretty cool.
Okay, here we go. Let's see.
Yeah, that-
Okay.
So the lava golem in the side jumps out to me, but that's not some unknown technology in the deck. But
Obviously, if I had the opportunity, I would play 3 extra if I was thinking about it a little harder, if it wasn't like the day before type thing.
Yeah.
I heavily like that he's playing Shield Bearer and extra. This deck's consistency issue is extremely bad. I mean, I pretty much played the same ratio, except that I played 2 Shield Bearer, 2 extra, 2 in the side.
maybe the up consistency justifies Sheena in the main a little bit more. Because it's just more likely you're going to be able to get to your monsters. The problem of Sheena being just dead in your hand is probably, I guess, maybe a little less common, just because you're playing more often.
The thing that, I mean, I really wanted to play with FMV at 2, but the problem that I was running into is that FMV like kind of solves my problem of Imperm Veiler on like my first starter. So I needed more ways to check those cards that were also really good going second. Sheena in the main, I don't know. he might just be a better player than me. Like he probably is just a better player than me.
I guess he is a YCS champion. He could just be nasty.
I guess he's just nicer at cards. I couldn't find a way to do that. I also like that he's playing only one Phantom Fortress. Funnily enough, with the demod cards coming out, you don't have a real way of outing in engine the Dragoon.
Yeah.
So having a real way to out the Dragoon is really nice. Also, the idea that Cam Neal came up with to make 2 of these and rip 2 cards out of their hand is way too greedy. It's like extremely greedy.
Yeah, it's like now they can break your way worse board with 4 cards.
Yeah, it's just really greedy. But in the side,
if you want to hand rip too, I mean, Moulin Glacier does that.
Yeah. Thank you, Blake. Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
The Typhon, I
don't understand that one at all.
I don't know, because you get windlocked immediately. You get like windlocked instantly.
What are you possibly doing to your opponent that made it so you even got like? Is this like you Typhon on like the 4th turn of the game in the grind? Like,
funnily enough, this deck is a grind deck, but you win on turn 3. Like, if it comes back to you, you win on turn 3. 2 Mekhala on the side is really interesting. I tried to play with 3 Mekhala when I was in my early phases of testing on DV. That card's just so really bad going second. And I guess
I don't think the Mekhalas are there for that. I think they're there for when you go first, so you can side out your fuel losses for additional engine. Which is something I really like to see in deck lists and such. For a little bit, I was testing siding 2 extra copies of Ecclesia in the Magistus Dracotail deck because I just wanted to be able to play the game because I felt like if I had playable, I was winning. But yeah, that's where I think like the 2 manifestation on the side also come from. Is that manifestation is not like the greatest card ever, but it is a thing that does something to turn the engine on. But then also you mentioned wanting to play the deck with not with like 2 F and V, but trying to dodge imperms and Veilers. Sheena doubles for Veiler coverage.
Yeah, Sheena does cover for Veiler coverage. Yeah.
It doesn't beat Imperm, but I feel like that's probably his reasoning behind like a 2-2 split is to have it be like flexible enough while also you don't really need 3 F and V because with 2, the first one dumps Albion, the second one dumps Ecclesia, the trap card puts him back, and then Ecclesia puts back the Albion, and then it's just an infinite loop.
Maybe this is a deck that can afford to play a couple 2-ofs because like you're saying, Leo, if you're trying to 6-card combo people, it does sort of make sense that you'd want a slightly greater diversity in your options there.
And also FMV isn't really good going second either, and except like it has very niche case uses, but it's not like finishing the game for you, right? What I was gonna say is when I was playing 3 Mekhala in the main, obviously this going second thing isn't a big deal because he's like siding him, but like you said, well not like you said, but I had a problem of seeing the quick play cards because Mekhala doesn't do anything by itself. And it's when, you need to see Mekhala plus quick play for anything to happen. And even when that happens, they can still interact with the Mekhala and still put you in a tough spot. The deck has a real bad trouble like playing into exactly 2 hand traps. But the 2 added quick plays in the side actually make a lot of sense because it's more quick play cards. It's more combination.
The deck has a ton of cards that don't do anything on their own. Which is fine, it's not that sort of deck. Not every deck needs to be, but you get a critical mass of those, and it's like, okay, in theory, it doesn't hurt your odds to be able to play, but it definitely hurts your odds to be able to play through 1 or 2 hand traps. So, congrats to this player. Like we said, it's a bit of a unique list, not necessarily what came to our minds. We thought the deck that was going to win Sydney, but I mean, obviously there was some super strong players at that event. I'm not familiar with this guy otherwise, but congrats to him. He beat Jesse Cotton in the final. Did you guys catch the stream there?
Yeah, I caught a little bit of it.
Yeah, Was it a good match in the last round? This is so unprofessional. Was it a good match in the last round?
I really only got to see like a part of the first game before like I started driving home because we were all chilling at Jason and Giovanni's afterwards. Leo was slumped on the floor, so I know he didn't catch it. That man was
calling me out.
You were putting in work all day. You were allowed to be sleepy. Oh,
I agree, Corey.
I'm so sad I missed it, boys. It sounds like you guys had a good ass time.
But I more so caught the top 4 match of Jesse playing against the DDD guy who made top 4.
Oh yeah. You guys want to take a look at this?
Jason and I, the moment that because we were watching it together. Game 3, the DDD guy went Fool Us. Jesse went Ash Blossom, and me and Jason both go, that's the whole game. It's over.
So, I would love to talk about this DDD deck. My fear is I don't really have too much to add. Do any of you guys have some expertise in DDD and can talk about this, or do we just want to bring it up?
I'm gonna be honest.
I don't necessarily have expertise, but my buddy Wes like has played this deck like on and off at least like 5-6 times as like new support comes out for it, and it was one of the decks that I actually took to a regional before Zodiac came out.
I mean, this is 10 years ago. We're talking about
spreadsheet.
You're not Cody, you're Corey, my bad. So are you familiar with this new card is Alfred the Divine Sage King?
The fusion? A little bit. So basically this one just lets you recycle more of your resources. It makes it so you can more easily access everything that you need to. A lot of the cards that like get printed for this deck oftentimes like create bridges where bridges were not before. Because there was like every new wave had new choke points where you would get stopped and you would just pass. So like when Gilgamesh came out, you would just kind of imperm this guy, and most of the time the turn would just end. But now if they have any extender, which they added like 4 extenders in the meantime, you get to make the Link 3, and then the Link 3 gets you to some more guys, helps you get your Dark Contracts back, and lets you do an extra pendulum summon. So then if like you have the scales, you're able to pend once, make more guys, and then pend again and continue comboing that way. The thing about this deck is it looks really, really scary, but it ultimately, I don't want to say it doesn't do anything. It's like everyone knows about the Fiendsmith guy that they're playing in this deck, the Wave King.
Yeah, what do you call this? This is a Fiendsmith monster. I don't really know why he's putting in his DD deck.
The Lave High King?
High King Caesar. He's originally a Fiendsmith card.
But that's cool. So it's like kind of like a Fiendsmith DD
He's a light fiend. I swear he's a light fiend.
Oh, he's a water monster.
You can Tronus him in Mermail.
Yeah. He's a water monster.
He's really good against Draco Tail, but he loses to Spenta. Anyway, all right, that's enough riffing. But then like Cursed King Siegfried is like an older card. But he's just a Draco Tail Flame. For those that are unfamiliar. And then the Divisor King Des Machinex, he's monster negates. So like it does put up a lot of negates, and it can play Impulse, which is always like a good sign for the deck. Also being able to use Dark Spirit's Mastery to either add your one of your starters, the 0 Doom Queen Machinex. She's probably one of the best starters in the deck and helped it like cut a lot of its brickiness issues. Or if you already have her, you can add Lava Golem to help crack boards. So anytime you have a card that can bridge engine and non-engine, you can oftentimes see results. And I watched a little bit of this guy's deck profile, and he said that he played for fun, which I think is really important. He just played a deck that he enjoyed, that he knew, and other people were unfamiliar with.
Nightmare Troning for Sabon Kepler too. So
I really enjoy his yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I love that. I love that deck goes back, baby.
I almost got completely hoed by that card this region.
I play that card in Mermail. I side that card because half the time you're not using normal summon, and then I just like draw. I was playing against a Radiant Typhoon guy at locals, and I go, Croc, draw 2. I looked at my hand, I looked at him, I said, I didn't normal summon, and he said, I don't think so. I said, cool, Denko, and he picked up his cards, and then he dropped out of the tournament. He was XO at the time.
But the other card in this deck, Dark Contract with the Eternal Darkness, is like a kind of a weird floodgate effect that people might not be familiar with. It says while you have 2 DD cards in your Pendulum Zones, your opponent cannot target monsters on the field with spell trap effects, tribute them for a tribute summon, or use them as materials for Refusion, Synchro, or XYZ. So like into the yummy board, if like you have like scales and this up, they can't snatchy effect, they can't do anything with their board. The only deck that could kind of do something is like Fimena pitch Dracotail names out of hand to make like Gulamel and interact that way, but they have to have all the materials in their hand. So I think that probably caught a lot of people off guard as like he's probably mid combo, sets this up, and they go to interact, and he's like, actually, you can't interact with me anymore.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm with you, Corey. I think it's just sick that he played it. The deck he loves to play, and it's a little unorthodox. But honestly, I mean, this list seems pretty clean. He put a bunch of cool cards in it, but we'll say, just because I don't know if I have anything else to add about this. And there's a bunch of other decks I want to talk about from Sydney. So yeah, let's keep moving here. Another deck that is awesome that I actually can speak on a little bit is this super sick Yummy deck with Yugioh Defender in it.
Yeah.
This was a concept we tested out. Oh yeah, shout out JoJo ASMR. I love that guy, man. He's a cool dude.
He's a Ritual Beast OG.
Yeah,
that's true.
So, this was a concept we tested out a good amount at the start of the format. And you ended up moving off it, but I think one of the things is I definitely never considered this a Shuriken card. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this. This is the way you can beat Nibiru, which in the video he mentions is really relevant because it stops you from wasting your Lollipo or having to have a really, really crap end board.
I mean, that's like the whole concept of the Yugioh Defender cards. Like, that's why he even thought of him in the first place, is because like a Shuriken exists, and that just like is, yeah. It was funny in the video. He's like, don't believe Triff because Nib is real. He saw Nib all over the place, and it's like, that card is real, and
yeah.
I mean, it makes a whole hell of a lot of sense because you just keep playing. You just go Link Spider and just keep playing the game. It just doesn't matter if they nib you there, but they have to. So
the other aspect of this list I thought was like really, really clever. Was just not main decking Charmies. I think he's totally right. This is something we've seen before with 1-card starter decks, Pack Centurion deck, some of the Malice decks that did good towards the WCQ season, where the deck has a terrible time breaking half boards, and it has a bunch of room for non-engine. So what do? You cut the Charmies that make them end on a half board, and you play a ton of non-engine that just stops them from playing entirely. So the game gets simplified, the point where your one Cupsy is going to clutch every time. And if they have a little way to interrupt it, all your starters are starter extenders. This is your Cupsy and Cookie or Mao and Lollipo, whatever, even Piri Raymath. So I love that I think the list is super clean. The Retaliating Scene on the side is crazy, but I can see why it would work, especially
in the main.
Oh, I'm sorry, in the main. So
that's what I was fascinated by.
Yeah. Okay, go for it, Blake.
I mean, like, if you're like expecting, he's Australian, right? So like he knows the people who are going to be at this event, probably.
That's true.
Like the better. So like if he knows there's like a shit ton of Dracotail in the Sydney area, or like in Australia, like, I mean, and it is the best deck. Like, yeah, it makes sense. If you think you're just going to run into the Dracotail menace the whole time, just like click the button with Retail C, because you should just beat the VS deck. Like hypothetically, at least.
It should be noted, because this YCS took place in Australia, that it was under the 1,000 player mark. So think like South America YCS, just like slightly bigger. So he's very familiar with like the metagame and like the people in the area. So he probably is like aware of what I want to say probably what the top 10% of the country is playing. And so he can kind of make judgment calls based on that, in addition to like what he hears from his friends. Because Yugioh is a network game.
What are you gonna say? Sorry, I cut you off, Corey. My bad.
I said Yu-Gi-Oh is a network game where like not only you're like you shouldn't just rely on your takes. You should talk to your friends and like what they're seeing because they'll see it from a different perspective than you will.
I will say, the theory behind it I think is solid, whether or not you know what you're playing, because it's super relevant against Draco, which is still the most popular deck as far as I can tell. But it has relevant text against Yummy, against RT, against any of the DMod decks. So I think it's really solid. And then you still, like you said, he points out in the video, you still have tons of good non-engine, even when Red Sea can be dead on occasion. Card I really love in this list is one that weirdly is still like is people still have to read all the time is Assist Yummy. This card's overly good. This is something that we have been testing a ton since it even got like spoiled. This card's insane. Just takes the deck to another level. And yeah, so this list is super awesome. Congrats again to JoJo. One more list I would really love to get into before we call it a night is the more standard branded Draco deck by world's competitor Fox Chudley. Guys, it's the name that sticks with you. Corey, I can give my thoughts about this deck, but obviously, you have some insight on how these lists have been looking as well. I really like the inclusion of more Ecclesias, and I was wondering or more Ecclesias and more Cartesias. I was wondering what your opinion about all the dragons he played are, or is rather.
It is the other option to like the Magistus version. I've always been more of a combo player. So I wanted to play the deck that had like the highest ceiling while its floor was still Draco Tail in the event of Charmies. But there's nothing wrong with like playing the 3 Urgula and 2 Pan. I think it's a little bit bricky, but when you do have them in combination with Phimena, it does get out of hand pretty quickly for your opponent. And also it lets you as you can see by the extract, because like you have more flex spots, you get to play like the Shawless, which is really good. You get to play all the Albaz targets, so you get to play like the Lubellion for Brand of Fusion under Dimension Fisher, and stuff like that. I find the one nib in the main deck and the one in the side very interesting. It's something that I've thought about a little bit. The reason it's in there is partially because it's something you can draw if your opponent decides to take the Charmy challenge, or in the event of like you playing against Lunalight, you can Brand Fusion into Titanclad, sending it so that way your deck has an out. Additionally,
I mean, you're just seeing a lot of cards in this deck. You want to draw into live hand traps. The difference, goes without saying, but the difference mathematically between 1 and 0 in your deck is really, really big. So when in this deck where clearly you're going to get in some grind games or grindier games where you need to resolve the traps for live cards, the one nib ends up making a huge, huge difference. What I was going to say about the dragons that is really appealing to me is that, those cards, I mean, it's a fusion deck, right? So you can't use necessarily the same way you might assess a more, whatever, side yummy deck, right? But those cards aren't starters, they aren't extenders, But because he's got Fallen and he's got Cardi and he's got Ecclesia, he has way more ways to resolve fusions when he's going second, and when he's going first. So I think, this is a really defensible way to play the deck. It's a little inconsistent. It's not necessarily the thing I would like, or that I'm called to. I mean, we've made it very clear what our opinion kind of in our circle is what version we like more. But this is a super cool list, super clean.
I don't mean to disagree in like a disrespectful manner or anything, but I think saying it's inconsistent is a little bit disingenuous. Like it's a fusion deck. Like you're playing with all 5 cards in your hand. Me and you, we just prefer that like in the event of like Rahu and Brand of Fusion getting stopped, that like this card actually does something rather than it just being this card. So like,
I mean, dude, whatever.
It's not that it's inconsistent. It's that we value the individual pushes more than like the stronger combinations of cards.
Well,
The
I
problem is,
kind of get
I don't
it.
know. I just feel like I'm not trying to have to draw the cards that need other cards to work. 'Cause especially when you draw hands
Yeah.
with like multiple Urgulas and stuff. I mean, it can be
It's a
you
little
can have
tilting.
more
I'm not
games
gonna
where you just
lie.
pass. You know?
I mean, if you think about it, Julian, if you think about it, I'm just gonna put this into a Goo Goo Gaga perspective.
He's gonna mention water monsters again. I feel.
Urgula is just Dragoons, and
There it
Pan
is.
is just Shadow Squad. Like those
now I
cards are like
understand.
unironically, if you draw those cards and you're like, damn, that ain't a starter. That ain't exciting. If I Dragoons
Yeah,
and
there's
four
a
hand
reason we
traps, I
don't play
lose the
Mermaid,
game.
Blake. Except you play Mermaid.
I lose the game. Like if I have Dragoons and four hand traps, I lose the game, right? Like that doesn't do anything. So like, I mean, like I get it,
Yeah.
like no meme. Like I get it, I don't like. I just don't subscribe to the fusion agenda.
I think the 2 copies of Illusion Gate in the side deck are interesting.
Just
I noticed those immediately, and also similar to the list that I played for the regional, he has 2 traps in the main and siding the 3rd trap.
Yes.
And the way that I've described it to people who ask is, a lot of times as you're like bridging engines and stuff, you end up setting 2 traps. Rarely ever setting 3 when you full combo, because you getting the Fallen of the White Dragon to dump Albion is actually like getting the 3rd trap, because you're getting Fallen and Virtuous at the end phase.
Yeah.
But the Illusion Gate, it's, for those of you unfamiliar with this card, it is you pay half your life points to Raigeki and then Monster Reborn. So like you can change the state of a board very quickly with that, with the lack of omnis in the format. And I think his main deck is kind of playing into the fact that he's siding this card with having 3 and 3 of Fallen and Virtuous and Droplet for the Dracotale Mirror. So he can go like Illusion Gate, they flame it, he sends it away, blows up the board, and then just like probably maybe like takes a Secretarion or like takes a Mirror Jade.
Yeah, obviously the Mirror Jade's really clutch because it won't trigger. Obviously, the Secretarion problem. I mean, you're not going to have them under the floodgate, but
yeah, but it's gonna be able to generate you advantage. So like the moment like a Keter resolves and you dump stuff to your graveyard, then it can just get it right back.
It also is one of those interrupted kaiju slumber board breakers that they activate, and you look at your hand of your little ghost girl in her little haunted mansion, and you say, I win the game. And that always skeeves me out just a little bit when my board breaker can get hand trapped.
I agree. It is a little bit suspect that it can be belled. It
Stick does play 6 board breakers that can be hand trapped though in the form of all its fusion spells.
Yeah.
It also loses to cards like Wave King Caesar. And basically anything else that either negates an effect to special summon, negates effect to reborn, or negates an effect to destroy.
It loses a warning. People are playing that a lot.
He's pairing it with Droplet. He's pairing it with FNV, which I think, I don't know if you touched.
I can't believe it loses to Judgment. I can't believe it loses to Dragon's Mind.
Yeah. I think the Droplet in particular is probably a response to the increased popularity in Yummy. Yummy seems like it's been everywhere.
I do want to.
And I really like it. I mean, this list is clean. Like I said, not necessarily the version that's like singing to me.
Hey Leo, I think Leo had a comment.
Yeah.
What's up?
I have a big problem with pure like Dracotale branded's ability to go into the the branded cards, because that deck is really only good if you get access to Wildbaz. Otherwise, just play Corey's list, right? So I like that he has 3 Wildbaz, 2 Ecclesia. The increased amount of like branded cards make it to where you see them more often. So
I think the 2 Cartesia also helps, because the way that you can imagine it is like you lost 2 Kedu and you lost 2 Malulu, so you replaced it with 2 Ecclesias and 2 Cartesias, because they get you into everything essentially. It's basically 4 ways to fuse when you go first, but really only 2 ways to fuse when you go second. I noticed he's not playing what they were playing. Once again, Lucasako and Julian were playing. in the 300th with the Exciton in the extra deck, with the additional copies of Ecclesia. I liked the Exciton when I was testing it, but it didn't always work out the way that you wanted it to. And so they probably cut it because it was more of a known thing, not as much surprise factor, and instead used that slot for probably something like the SP Little Knight that doesn't always make the cut, or the Shawless.
Yeah. I think that's really good insight. We talked about it last week, how Exciton is a push, but it's kind of a fake push. It's not that common that you actually get to do the thing. Now that it's known, it gets way worse. But he replaced it with a card that's basically always a real push in the form of Cartesia, which pairs with Fallen and of the White Dragon particularly well. I guess now that I look at it, that jumped out to me, or that we haven't discussed already, is that he's actually playing, it looks like, unless this list is wrong, he's actually playing 0 Fallen, original Fallen of Albaz, which seemed like an important part of the deck. And in fact, he does have the extra deck that you might think included Fallen of Albaz. He plays a big branded package here. So I wonder if this is going to be something we'll see move. I mean, obviously it makes more sense with Cartesia, so that you can pair it with Fallen of the White Dragon, which makes a ton of sense. But I wonder if this is something we're going to see more going forward, where obviously, like, people playing our version of the deck, Corey, seem to pretty much agree that Albaz is so much better than Fallen of Albaz, original Albaz, that it makes sense to play 3. I wonder if that's gonna catch on like this duelist.
I think maybe the assumption that they came to was, as we keep saying, your deck needs to see the Dracotail cards in order to do what it's expected to do. And the one original Fallen of Albaz isn't necessarily making up that gap that is there otherwise. It helps, but it just isn't it isn't the thing that ultimately gets you there. So they likely opted to go to just the 3 Fallen of the White Dragon, to have more consistent access to Cartesia through Ecclesia, the Synchro. So that way they're, 8, 10, 13 Dracotail names, 17 if you count the spell cards. That's almost half their deck is names. So they just need to see one of those instead of it being the Fallen. Because if you open Fallen of Albaz plus a Dracotail card versus Fallen of White and a Dracotail card, the difference is astronomical.
Yeah. Well, great. So I think I'm not sure if there was other lists we necessarily super wanted to call up this weekend.
In general for the YCS, I was just looking at the top cut breakdown, and Dracotail seems very present between Sydney and also the other YCSs that have happened, but it seems to struggle winning the event. It'll get you to top cut, but your deck has to be built almost perfectly, it seems, because the deck is so targeted with everyone maining Ashes, Bells, and such. If you look at the top 32, there's 13 Dracotails, 12 of them being branded, and there being 1 goat on Magistus. And then going into top 16, that number almost halves, and it's all the branded Dracotail. And then it over halves again. So it goes from 13 to 7 to 3. So it's just getting outdone by the other decks. The Radiant Typhoon had a 3 of 3 conversion from top 32 to top 16, and then even then only one of them lost going into top 8. So there was 2 Radiant in top 8. One ended up winning the event, obviously.
I guess this is the same problem Malice had, right? Though Malice was the best deck. I mean, probably the best deck for what?
Or at least the deck to beat.
It didn't win YCS.
It was the deck to beat, the deck that everyone was afraid of, and would overly prepare for, because Ryziel was just can you out detonator, yes or no? Malice was, okay, you stopped Dormouse, can you stop Underground? Can you stop the Bestial? Can you stop this card? And so it became more of a, okay, I have to build my deck for Malice, but not so much that I lose immediately to Ryziel. And it's kind of the same way now, where it's like, okay, I need to be able to beat Draco Tail, but I also need to not auto lose to VS Canine or Radiant Typhoon or Yummy.
Yeah. Which honestly, it's like, looking at the format from that angle, it makes a deck like the Yummy deck that JoJo ASMR played seem really, really strong. I mean, it's just the most efficient engine and some of the best non-engine. Yeah.
21 hand traps is always just going to be crazy. If you can play 21 hand traps in your deck, like your deck is probably crazy.
Yeah.
Shut up.
I may not be like the biggest fan of like the single trading hand traps, but when you can play such an astronomical amount of them, it becomes just like a snowball effect, and that's another reason why I like the Magistus cards, is because like the one spent usually trades for at least 2 hand traps.
Yeah.
Because like they have to answer it, and then you show them Fall into the White Dragon, and then you show them Rahu, and they go, "What was I meant to do, bro?"
No, I know. As much as I love that version of the deck, I think I can think of a lot of hands in that Magistus deck that just kind of walk its dog. It's like
yeah.
I can also think of hands where I have to start with the spell card, and they retaliating see me, and I pass, and they didn't even need the other 3 hand traps. So
this is why people should be scared about the new Dark Magician cards. Like, the Diablo Star is actually just Spenta. It is actually just Spenta, because those cards, they keep printing cards that are incredibly hard to interact with. Like Diablo Star by herself beats 2 hand traps, and if you have a Yummy name, it becomes Gravity Controller. So now you have to beat a Yummy name plus Gravity Control. Like, it gets so out of hand.
Well, if you open a Yummy name plus Diabell Star, you just have a Dragoon, unless they have 2 hand traps. Like, it's crazy.
It's ridiculous. I mean, why? Watch out for that.
Which, if we see like more Yummy going towards that, it might become an issue where, like, I was playing Nibiru's, where Nibiru just doesn't do it anymore, because like I need the 2 hand traps, and then I need to have Nib too. So like then I'm starting to use way too many cards out of my hand.
It kind of reminds me of like a little bit like the late stage base deck, like the Azamini Yummy deck does, where like you're just like kind of doing stuff, but you're just putting up an Omni before you do anything that matters. You're just clicking buttons, but like you're just putting up an Omni before you do anything that matters. And if they have to nib you, they have to interact with you, and then you say, okay, I'll summon my 1-card starter card. Oh, I'll go into my Hulk line. Goo goo gaga.
Like, this one's even better into nib imperm.
Yeah,
that deck can boost a nib imperm. This deck can't.
This deck just doesn't. Yeah.
I mean, it's all the more reason to put a card like Droplet in your deck, especially if you're playing Draco Tail, because against even a really strong Yummy end board, if they don't have Ash for a Rahu, Droplet Rahu is outing, I don't know, even their strongest boards, basically. So
it's so
I'm wondering,
tough, man, because like that deck, if it full combos or even gets close to full comboing, the game's over, because like you can layer your interruptions so well with people playing like Deaders. Everybody should be playing Deaders. I won't hear it, and there's the Hollowed Azamini. That card sucks. Everybody should be playing Deaders. You play the Gaze, and you play Deaders, and now you have 3 Omni negates that come at different times, so you can't get Droplet all at once. So it's insane.
Well, and if you play Assist too, like in that deck, which I feel like some of those decks are probably going to push towards playing Assist more, because you can just go like, I chain my card, I put my Snatchy back, I summon him back again.
Throwing in a different way, man.
Well, assist in like the Azamina deck, I mean. Because you're already playing.
Oh, well, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, not in like the pure deck, like in the Azamina deck. Like I feel like people are gonna probably move to playing that too. I mean, it's a lot of bricks, but I feel like it'd be like 42 card deck with like, Goo Goo Gaga, a couple bricks, whatever, who cares.
That card was always in even my bigger engine versions of the Yummy ratings. Dude, that Texica card's insane.
I guess you're nice. See, I never fully read that card until like last week. I just read the first line and said, lose 100 life points, gain 100 life points. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, you're like, 100 more
like,
life
I don't
points.
care.
Yeah, this will do stupendously.
I can't remember what event it was from. I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but because Leo mentioned the Dark Magician cards and like Diabell Star, you can also play it with like the Shiny Sarcophagus and the Dark Magician Girl.
Yeah,
there was a Yummy list that played 3 Berry Berry Magician Girl.
No.
That is just a level 1. It's a level 1 that on summon adds any Magician Girl, so it adds the DMG that
Yeah.
like gets you to like the Dragoon and stuff, and it's already a level 1 on your board. So then when you make the gravity controller, you don't need a name, and you don't need to search for Magician Souls.
We've talked about Yummy having a bit of a hard time playing in the half boards. If you include the Shining Sark stuff, you can go for a card like Gandora G Dragon, which is like
Yeah, the big one.
Dark plus the what's it called? The Dark Magician Girl Shining Sark card. I can't remember the exact name. And that can really help deal with the half board.
It's a Dark Magician Girl card, bro. They're all the same. That one just had text.
It's the same girl, different positions.
Cool ways to look at this deck. But yeah, I think that's that was the show once again. Congrats guys on your little calm regional top. Man, I wish I could have been there, dude. Okay, sorry. And I think I'm missing Indy too. I'm so sad about it. And congrats, Darian. He's a coward for not coming on the show, but it's what it is. Anyway, you guys want to get any final thoughts here?
Yeah, man. I'm just saying, look, the year is 20XX, okay? And you sit across from your opponent at the YCS, and you look at each other, and you both roll die. And then whoever goes first, right, you look at your hand and say normal summon neptabihhhhh, and they say understandable. Then you go to game 2, and your opponent draws cards, and then they normal summon neptabihhhhh, and you say understandable. We do that until we die.
You're going to be the Hacks money of playing neptabihhhhh, dude. I'm proud of you.
Yeah, and I got to put the cup down, but we'll pick it back up. Don't worry.
He'll be back.
I guess the only note I really have is because of like us talking about like, the difference in like the Draco Tail builds and stuff, is just like play what you're most comfortable with, but don't be adverse to trying the other thing. Like I tested the deck without the Magistus cards, and I just didn't like it as much. I didn't like that it wasn't as fluid as the Magistus build is, which is ultimately what led me to decide to play it.
Yeah.
Leo, you got any thoughts on your Brick Typhoon deck before we leave?
Guys, we're not YCS champions. Put the deck away.
Yeah, for real.
Put the deck away.
Hang it up, retire champ.
You might be me. You might be me, but you got to do 9 rounds of that, bro. God dang.
I'd kill myself.
It's been a good one. Thank you guys for coming on. Thank you to producer Cody. Let us know. We're gonna have we might have a whole different crew next week. We got a lot of sharks in the Shark Tank. Anyway, guys, thank you guys for tuning in. We actually had some really good positive feedback on that first one. And I want to say the channel hit 1,000 subs this week. Not a lot to some of you guys, but that's a big freaking milestone for us. So thank you guys so much.
Huge.
Peace.
See you.